Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Silem here. If this is your first time on this channel, on my channel, please subscribe. It's absolutely free and it helps the channel grow. In today's video, I'm going to teach you guys how to make a 180-degree circle dress or a 180-degree flare dress, whichever one you call it. I have a video on my channel on how to make a 360-degree flare dress, so definitely check it out. The link will be in the description box down below. So if you want to see how we draft, cut and sew this 180-degree circle dress, then definitely keep on watching.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there.
So I'm using about 3 yards of fabric for this. Now what you want to do is you want to fold your fabric diagonally. Normally you fold your fabric lengthwise or widthwise, but in this case, since we're making a 180-degree flare, we're going to fold our fabric diagonally. And that's what I just did. Now you're going to have to divide your waist measurement by 4. Now because this flare is going to be attached on the waist, so the dress is going to have the top part, which is like a blouse, and then the bottom part is the flare. So that's why I'm marking my waist measurement. I divided it by 4 and I placed it on the flare and I marked that point. Now from that peak, which is that highest point, I'm just measuring that to that line I marked and then making sure that it's the same on all sides basically. So that's what I did, and then I just went ahead to just draw a curve to connect all those points. That will give a curved shape at the top instead of a straight shape. You don't want it to be straight, you want it to be curved. Okay, now from that point I'm going to mark the length of this bottom part. Okay, now the full length of my client's dress is 42 inches. Now because the top part, which is the blouse part, has a length of 15 inches. Okay, so it means it's 42 minus 15. That will give me the length of this skirt part of the dress. I hope that makes sense, guys. So I just went ahead to just mark that and then I just cut it. Now for the back piece, what I just cut now was the front piece. Okay, was the front piece of the flare skirt. Now what I'm doing now is I'm just placing that front piece on top of the back piece, and I made sure to leave about 1.5 inches zipper allowance along that fold. Okay, apart from that allowance that the back has, everything else is the same with the front. Okay, so the back and the front pieces are the same. The only difference is that zipper allowance there that's along that fold, which is about 1.5 inches. So I'm just trimming everything else to make sure that it's the same with the back. Then I'm just going to just open up or trim that zipper allowance open. Now I'm just going to mark the line where I'm going to sew, because I'm going to have to sew that zipper allowance closed once again. So this is what we have basically for the cutting. Now this is what the top part of the dress is going to look like. I'm just going to just draw a baseline. I folded my fabric already. Just drawing a baseline, and from that baseline I'm marking her bust point, which is 10 inches, her under bust, which is 13 inches, and then the length, which is about 16 inches. Now her half length is 15 inches actually, but I added 1 inch allowance just so that it doesn't get shorter than I want it to be. I went ahead to now extend all those lines. And once I did that, I divided her bust measurement by 4. I placed that on the bust point line. I marked that point, and then I added just 1 inch allowance. The reason why I added only 1 inch allowance is because the fabric is stretchy. I also divided her shape measurements by 4, placed that on the under bust line, marked that with 1 inch allowance. Now from that point, I just extended that line all the way down, and then I just connected it up to the bust point. Now from the baseline downwards, I marked 8 inches, which is her armhole line. Okay, now I also went ahead to divide her shoulder measurement by 4. Her shoulder is 14 inches divided by 2 inches rather. Divided her shoulder measurement by 2, so 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. Now from that point, I just drew a curve to connect that to that point that I marked on the armhole line, and I just went ahead to just cut that out. Now that was for the front piece of the top. Now I'm taking another piece of fabric, folding it in order for me to cut the back piece of the top as well. So again, just like the way the skirt is, everything else front and back is the same. The only difference is that zipper allowance. But there's also another difference with this one. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys in a minute. I'm going ahead to just cut open the zipper allowance. Again, it's the same 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. Now the difference between the front and the back, again, apart from the zipper allowance, is the neck. Okay, now for the width of my neck, I'm taking 3 inches, and for the depth I took 2.5 inches. Now for the back, I also took 3 inches for the width, but for the depth I took 1 inch. Now this, what I'm making for this, is a turtleneck dress. Okay, although I didn't show how to like cut the turtleneck part in this video, I'm going to upload that in my next tutorial, which is going to be up next week Saturday. So you have to definitely stay tuned and watch how I create that turtleneck design for this. But basically that's how the neck is going to be. I cut that out and then I just slanted the shoulder a bit. Okay, now I'm going to just mark where I'm going to sew on that back, on the on that zipper allowance. I'm going to just mark the line where I'm going to sew. I left about 1 inch from the edge. Now for my sleeve, I'm just folding my sleeve. I'm going to cut the 2 sleeves at the same time, so I'm just folding it twice. If you want to cut just one by one, that's fine, just fold your fabric once, but I'm cutting both of them at the same time. Now I'm just marking the baseline where I'm going to start my measurements from. Now the length of the sleeve is 8 inches, but I added 1 inch allowance, making it 9 inches. Her round sleeve measurement is 12 inches, that's divided by 2, making it 6 inches, and I added 1 inch allowance. Okay, hope that's understandable up to this point. So I'm just connecting the points, making sure that it's a bit slanted. And then from that top, I'm just drawing a curve to connect that other point. Now from the top, that baseline to where the first mark is about 4 inches. Okay, so from the top to where the curve ends is about 4 inches before it begins to be straight. I hope that makes sense, guys. So this point here now, from the top to this point here I'm at now, is 4 inches. Okay, so that's basically how you cut your sleeve, your basic straight sleeve. Now these are the 2 sleeves cut out. Moving on to my sewing machine, what I'm doing first is I'm taking the top, this is the top now, I'm taking the 2 back pieces and I'm going ahead to just join both of them at that zipper allowance. Okay, right sides facing. So I'm making sure that the 2 right sides of the back pieces are facing each other, and then I went ahead to just sew both of them. Now when you open it up, this is what it looks like. Now taking my front piece, I'm just placing my back piece on top of the front piece, and then I'm joining them at the shoulder. I put my darts off camera. If you want a detailed tutorial on how to insert darts on a top, a basic simple dart, I can do a separate video on that, but I have a couple of other videos where I've done that, and that's why I just didn't think I should in this video. Anyway, for the bottom part, which is the skirt part of this dress, I'm taking the 2 back pieces and I'm also joining them along the zipper allowance, just like the way I did it for the top part. Okay, so I'm joining the 2 back pieces of the skirt, I'm joining both of them along that zipper allowance, right sides facing. Okay, once I'm done with that, I just open that up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the front piece of the skirt and I'm going to place the front piece of the top on top of the front piece of the skirt. Okay, so the front of the top and the front of the skirt, I place both of them together and I'm joining both of them right sides facing with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm just joining both of them there at that waist. Now once I've joined, look at what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like already. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the back pieces. So I joined the back piece of the top to the back piece of the skirt. Okay, so once I've done that, I just turn that back to make sure that I'm looking at the wrong side now. Then I went ahead to just join the sides together. Okay, so I'm going to join both sides. So I'm shaping the sides, the left side and the right side, with her actual measurements now so that it fits right. Okay, you want to do that for both sides. Now once you're done with that, it's time to put your sleeves, okay? Now taking my sleeve, I'm just going to make sure that the seam line of my sleeve matches the seam line of my top. Now what I did was I just folded my sleeve in half and then I just sewed it, okay, with 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I'm just joining the sleeve to the top, and I'm going to just sew that round. And once we're done, this is what we have, okay? Our sleeve is inserted and the rest of our dress is looking good. I'm going to show you guys what the finished result is.